Hello ladies and gentlemen, CaptainShack here, and welcome to Arena Commander. We're talking about the controls for Star Citizen. They're kind of a hot topic right now in the community. So everybody wants to know, what's the best you can use? What is the best control scheme? Is it the Xbox 360 controller? Is it a gamepad? Is it the joystick? Or is it the keyboard and mouse? Now, I have played Space Sims for as long as I can remember. Free Space 2 is probably one of my favorites, the X series, except for that MX Rebirth game. Freelancer, Starlancer, you name it, I've probably played it. I'm a registered certified pilot here in the United States, and I was an aerospace propulsion apprentice and journeyman with the United States Air Force for 6 years, so I know a little bit about aircraft. So let's talk about control schemes in this game. Now, I've played for hours on every one of the control setups that is available right now, and I can tell you without a doubt they are all viable control setups. People are pissed because the game isn't feeling like they believe it should. This doesn't feel like Freelancer, like Starlancer, like any Space Sim that you've probably played before. And you know what? It shouldn't. There's a good reason for this. Chris Roberts has managed to pull off some really cool shit with Space Engineers. He's actually rendering these ships with mass. The individual thrusters fire, they're gimbaled, they move around, they take time to change position and redirect themselves. Your ship itself actually has a center of gravity, not something that you would see in a normal Space Sim that we played in the past. Back in the day, Space Sims used very simple mathematical solutions pretty much for how a ship will handle. They get one formula for how ships fly, and then to make every ship feel different, they change some of the base numbers. So how fast the ship can accelerate, what the top speed is, how fast you can bank, how many degrees per second. That would be how they would simulate spaceship flight in different ships. They wouldn't actually take into account how heavy the ship is, where are the thrusters located, how quickly do they fire, how quickly do they move. How far are they gimbaled? Can they move in 360 degrees, 180? But in this game, in Star Citizen, you can see me getting on these guys here. This is actually with the mouse and keyboard for this demo video. All that stuff is simulated, meaning that you can have a ship, two different ships that are the exact same weight and have the exact same thrusters, but because they're different setups, because the actual hull is stretched out or compressed, or the engines are in different places, means it's gonna handle differently. You're going to slide around that turn a little differently than somebody else, or way differently. You can really see the difference with the Hornet and say the Aurora already in Arena Commander. Give those two a flight and you'll instantly tell the difference on how they fly. So what's better, keyboard, mouse, gamepad, or joystick? Now, so you guys know, I use the G5 mouse, one of the best peripherals for gaming I think ever made. I got a decent keyboard. I'm using the Saytech X52 throttle and joystick setup for my joystick, and I've got the Xbox 360 controller for my gamepad. And I like them all. They all have their strengths and their weaknesses. We're gonna go through those real quick. The mouse has by far, and this is for every game, but for this one, the most accuracy. It has the pinpoint accuracy that a mouse can give when aiming your guns. None of the other controls can actually compare to that, but Star Citizen has a way of balancing this out. There is a bit of auto-aim assist once you get the reticule over a target. You get that green diamond, and your gun computer will help you aim your guns. So it's not a big a deal as some people might think it is, but it's definitely an advantage for the mouse. A disadvantage for the mouse is it's too easy to follow a cursor. It's too easy to get tunnel visioned into chasing behind that cursor behind a target. When you play with a joystick or a gamepad, I find, now this might be personal preference, but I find that I look into my banks a little bit more. I see where I'm gonna be in a second and a half from now, 2 seconds. Because anybody who's familiar with Sims and dogfighting knows it's about positioning and planning for the next position. Planning for when you're gonna get that shot off, when you're gonna line up your target. You can see I'm tearing these guys up here. The joystick definitely has the benefit of being the most immersive control peripheral there is, and you mostly have more buttons and they're very easy to get to than say a gamepad. The negative right now for the joystick, the biggest negative is the fact that there's no slider for sensitivity. It's a real pain in the ass. Now, they have it really sensitive. Now, I like my joystick sensitive. I like to be able to barely touch and move it, and I get instant response time from the ship. Some people want to throw the joystick around and really feel like they're in a movie-style starfighter where you're jostling around the controls and pulling back hard and all that, and that's fine. And if you're kind of that kind of gamer, if you're that kind of person who likes those kind of controls, you may hate Arena Commander's joystick controls out of the box because there's no way to change the sensitivity yet. Chris Roberts has said it's on the way. It's one of the priorities for the control scheme. It's coming to Arena Commander as soon as they get it done. But a joystick is a completely viable way to fly in Star Citizen. Gamepad. Now the gamepad has some unique aspects to it. Let me see if I can get behind this guy here. Alright, so the gamepad, so the left thumbstick on a gamepad, this is the Xbox 360 controller that I've been using. The left thumbstick controls your pitch and your yaw, and when you hold down the trigger, that's when it controls your roll. So you can't do both at the same time. Now, if you're in a fighter, it's not that big of a deal. Roll is instant. I mean, you feel it right away. You can get your aircraft, your spacecraft in this case, at the proper angle you want before you pull back. But it's kind of a big deal. But what's cool is it frees up your right control stick to give you the neck control, pretty much. You can move your head around and look around the cockpit and look out the window. So if you've got a ship that has great visibility, you can take advantage of that with that right thumbstick. And I found I was doing that a lot in dogfights when I was using the Xbox 360 controller. Now, I'm sure they're gonna have this customizable later on. It just hasn't been a thing yet. And there may be even better control schemes, but for a gamepad, this is probably the best gamepad control scheme I've seen in a while. I'm actually gonna see if I can get this into my my X3 Albion Prelude control setup and see how well it works in that game. So that's the gamepad. All the buttons are there. They're very easy to get to. There's like little macros where you can double tap your triggers and it'll do different things like match speed to target. It's all very quick, very easy to do. Pretty much, you can use any control scheme you want, keyboard, mouse, joystick, or gamepad, and it works just fine. Things are gonna get better as they come out with more updates. All right, guys, make sure you watch your six, keep kicking ass, and as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.